So cosmology is an interesting thing, especially today in the modern or postmodern or end of world, uh, you know, situation that we're in at the moment. When there's so many different competing, radically opposed points of view as to what the cosmos is all about. So it was a lot simpler, you know, several hundred years ago when you just read Dante's Divine Comedy and understand, hell, which is, it's right down there. It's at the center of the earth, and if you're a sinner, that's where you will go to burn for all eternity. And heaven is right up in the sky. I mean, back then, if you looked up at the sky, you could actually see the Milky Way. Not like a modern city where the lights scare all the stars away. The night sky looks something like this. Just a bunch of angels, heavenly bodies circling the sky. But, of course we're a lot more sophisticated nowadays, and we know that those are really just balls of gravitationally ignited fire. And, we, intelligent human beings on Earth, we've harnessed fire, so we got it all under control. Let me try to answer some comments left by Contra Wagner about something I said. I said, the same way you verify that other people have experiences through empathy and intuition, to answer a question by Formica45, who asked, how do we verify that the cell as a whole experiences this or that? Because all we can observe is its behavior. We can't observe intentions. So I said, well, we intuit, we empathize, we relate to a cell, or at least I do, and for the same reason that I respond to human beings with, a sense of responsibility toward them. I admit them into the circle of sentient beings. I can identify with them, in other words. And so I accept that they must have an interior, like I have an interior, and I hope all of you have an interior. It's not separate from your exterior. Interior and exterior are just the different, the main archetypes structuring the very foundation of our experience. I mean, we could call inside and outside space and time if we wanted to. Time is inside, space is outside, or, like Descartes said, the extended substance is the material, physical world out there, and the thinking substance is the invisible soul, controlling the body from, not entirely outside the body. I mean, this is the problem for Descartes. He had to, somehow explain how this machine had the spark of God in it, and, work something out with the pineal gland. And it is a rather strange coincidence that DMT is actually produced and released by the pineal gland at certain important moments in the life trajectory of a human being. But somehow Descartes tried to relate these two substances together, and modern science is supposed to be strictly monistic and has denied that there's any spark of God inside the body. because they have discovered that really the true nature of reality is that it's a bunch of particles of dirt, or atoms, or just pieces of stuff um, banging into each other and floating around, and they fall into the patterns that we see all around us. So Contra Wagner was kind of confused, because he said to my response to Formica that this is exactly what I did as a reductive physicalist, to interpret that individual atoms, individual cells, rocks, dirt, and so on are not conscious. But you say that I am wrong. Why? Well, I think what you're using that word consciousness to mean is not what I would use it to mean. I mean, there's many things that consciousness can mean, that word. I mean, it can be just our human sense of ourselves in relation to other human selves, which is typically a verbal, reasonably rational, um, speaker or haver of opinions. That we could call consciousness, that feeling of being a person. And certainly I wouldn't want to attribute that kind of a feeling to a rock, or to dirt, or to individual cells. Individual cells, though, have some kind of experience, certainly. I mean, it's nothing like my experience of, 5 senses arrayed in this particular way. A cell doesn't have a face, but it certainly has a body. And, we can be Humean empiricists and say that the only experience we have is of our senses, but then, what about dreams? What about the imagination? What about, the archetypal structure of our psychic phenomenal experience? I mean, these are all parts of what make us whole as human beings, not just what we see of the outer world. So there is bodily perception, and there is perception through the senses, but they both are clearly evident in our actual concrete embodiment. Nobody can deny that somehow a unity is produced out of what science will tell us is just a collection of randomly arrayed atoms, which have no particular meaningful relationship to one another. They just ended up where they are because of some determined set of arbitrary laws imposed because of, we don't know. It used to be because of God. I mean, in Newton's physics, what the laws of physics are based on today is unclear. I mean, you could say mathematics, but mathematics have no foundation anymore. I mean, so the laws of physics are true because, well, I would say because that's where the universe happens to be in this moment of its developmental course. I mean, but it's still growing. We know it had a beginning. We know the universe has grown into what it is today. And all of its laws are part of that evolutionary process. They evolve as much as anything else. So the universe is an organism. So it's not, let's just take our planet, which is also a kind of organism. It's not that the dirt is alive, but the things that we do think are alive, that live on the planet, need the dirt for the plants to grow. And in fact, the dirt is organic matter. maybe we don't call it